Everyone's like, oh, look, here comes Pensy Joe bringing the Pennsylvania stuff because really test LED in the headlight, but we'll take this quite well by all. Regular combination, she's all that Sheet at 10. Proceed to 15. Hey everybody, this is Pensy Joe back again for another little project I decided to work on. This is out of the bounds of what I normally do. I recently purchased a Blackstone HOn3 narrow gauge C-19 class locomotive. It's numbered 345, but it looks similar to this locomotive, except it has the old-timey domes and it has a suicide pilot or suicide step pilot in the front. Most of everything else pretty much looks the same, including cylinder trims and the white line or silver line that's on the side. I got into it because I kind of fell in love with Tweetsy, especially at my museum at the Johnson City Railroad Experience. And I recommend anybody who comes to Johnson City, Tennessee, to come check out the Johnson City Railroad Experience if you ever come on by and you just want to see some cool trains and some really neat layouts and history about the area. But yeah, this kind of came out of left field, and I really wanted to get started with this project. So my engine's going to be like a combination of the ET&WNC number 3 and the ET&WNC 4, 5, and 6. So it's going to have like a hodgepodge mix with each other to really make this conversion possible. A lot of it's like 3D printed parts. So this is the replacement tender. Initially I did some lacquer enamel painting with flat black. I did a one or two coats on the sides and on the top. And at first it turned out pretty great, actually. Same thing with the cab over here. Obviously I had to paint a little bit more because I had to use the vice grips to hold it and let it dry and stay out of the way. So it is what it is. Eventually it came back with acrylic flat black, and that's helped keep any light bleed going through like the tender, especially since the tsunami board would glow red on the top, and then the top of the tender would glow red through the plastic, and I thought, well, that looks silly. Here's the extended smoke box with the new headlight. I had to revisit that headlight and use more acrylic paint to paint it black. And I believe that solved the issue of light bleeding through that piece right there. It was kind of silly at first. And here's that air tank that's sitting on top of that speaker I have there, and there's the smokestack that's not painted yet. It'll be painted Tamiya Gunmetal Gray. Same with the boiler. So here's the locomotive being taken apart. There's a little motor and a little flywheel, and there's the tender for that Rio Grande engine right there. And as you can see, I'm just taking it apart. Took the boiler off, and there's the LED board that's going to be screwed into the back of the new extended boiler with the screw going into that. And the previous owner had used very thin metal like wire to make the whistle pull cord and the bell pull cord. So I had to drill two little holes into the new 3D printed cab so that I can reuse those pull cords. And they were not the most fun things to try and reuse, but it worked out. I used some plastic cement or glue in a certain way to try and keep them where I want them when I was reassembling. And here it is. Here's the smoke box, extended smoke box with the painted gunmetal gray on it, and then it looked really good when I painted it. And I switched over to Tamiya paint, and which I'm probably going to stick to acrylic from now on. It's just the oil, the lacquer enamel stuff. It gives that lacquer enamel look, but on the downside, in my opinion, it's not the greatest paint to really use for models. In terms of model trains and getting the results that you want. And here it is attached to the front of the boiler. It does kind of look off at first, but in later photos, it actually looks a lot better and it looks more matched as if it was one piece. So we added that on. We're going to slowly get more stuff done. Here's the crew figures that I guess the previous owner of this model had that they added to their model. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll guess I'll reuse them, try to re-glue them. And they became a little bit of pain in the butt too. Also for the cab, I repainted the interior green. Painting the interior green because that's what I was told through historical context, especially a lot of steam engines had their interiors for the cab painted green at the time. So I went with this bright green with the lacquer enamel, which actually was pretty successful. And then I started painting the frames for the windows and the doors for the cab red. I just went with a lacquer enamel red, and it looked really good. And I tried to let a little bit of the black behind it show through a bit as to show some like grime. So I didn't put too much red on there. Otherwise, it'd probably look a little bit strange. And then here's the headlight, not the headlight, the smokestack here with the red lip trim that Tweetsy was known for their 460s. Now, these engines, the number 4, 5, and 6, did not have the trim that I'm going to show you right here. They did not have that trim, and except I think one time one of them did for a little bit, just to have a little bit, I guess, flair. But most of them were just black and with the gunmetal gray. They didn't really have the painted window frames and all that fancy stuff. And here's the other side of it right here. As you can see, it looks a lot better with that gunmetal repaint on the smoke box. And I did some more painting to do some to make sure the light doesn't bleed through there. And I did a lot of tests and a lot of re-gluing, but through and through it turned out really well. And here's it upside down where I had to try and figure out how to put that air tank below it. That air tank, it's part of the prototype, but the problem with it is that you're covering the screw that holds down the cab. And I had to do some touch-up paint after this as well. And if comparing that to that M1 I have in the background, the Pennsylvania M1, it is a tiny engine, man. It is just, it's almost comical. And here it is at my museum on the Tweetsy layout that they have there. It's ginormous for a narrow gauge railroad for sure. And I brought it there to test it, break it in onto the layout. And it just fits in so well after you do a conversion kit. And I'll share the conversion kits and where you can get them in the description below, by the way, in case anybody wants to try this conversion. It was a rewarding and fun and unique experience for me. It's like a first time thing. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I plan to do more with it. I'll do an update at some point where I have to. Obviously, I need to get decals for it and add it to the locomotive. That needs to be done. I need to get decals. Ask help from the museum to get me decals, and hopefully have somebody help me put decals on it. And it'll be numbered 13. Number 13 never existed. So this is my little freelanced kind of idea. Hence the beginning I said it's like a hodgepodge between number 3 and the number 4, 5, and 6 engines. So it's something fun for me that I wanted to make. And it was really enjoyable and rewarding and frustrating at times, just like any story. Anyways, I'm going to show a little bit of a running session with it going around the curve into Doe River Valley Gorge. And yeah, this is Penty Joe signing out, and I'll see you guys next time down the line. And I'll show you a final photo of it at Cranberry at the engine house after the little video.
by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Now here's to Daddy Claxton, may his name forever stand, and may he be remembered in the courts throughout the land. When his earthly race is over, let the curtains round him fall. We'll carry him home to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble, and the roar, as she glides along the woodland to the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.